Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Chicago here. Look, they got some barricades there. What's that for? Not a protest. They're going to have the marathon next Sunday. Less than 7 days here, 6 days. Chicago Marathon will be running through here. We're in Lincoln Park here, Stockton and Fullerton. Usually they head up that way and they come back down Clark, so I could just roll out of bed and I'm surrounded by the marathon. It's going to be next Sunday. We'll talk more about that. But hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago here. We're going to go over and try to catch the sunrise. We got October the 6th, 2025 here. Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, we're going by the Peggy Notabart Nature Museum. We just went by the North Pond. We'll head out to the Chicago Lakefront. It's early, Monday, heading to work here, Chicago, Illinois. And we got 6:45 on the dot. We'll see what's shaking there. We'll head to downtown Chicago, have the lake on one side, the sunrise. We'll have the Chicago skyline in the distance as we head towards Michigan Avenue. So what's shaking there? What's new in the world? Everybody doing okay? Izzy, how you doing there? Good morning. Friends, good morning. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being on early. Maybe you're in different time zones. There's that crazy sculpture. It looks like a upside down tree to me. Yeah, there's the Caldwell Lily Pool. We got some footage of that. There, nature's resilience here. The butterflies, butterfly garden at Peggy Notabart Nature Museum there. And here we'll head across Cannon Drive, Fullerton. Yeah, there it is. There's the sign. Peggy Notabart Nature Museum here. Chicago Academy of Sciences. Yeah. Callie, call me Fat Jesus. You can call you Fat Jesus or Fat Jesus there. Either way, if it works, that's good. I like your name there. It's like the happy Buddha, the fat Buddha. No disrespect to anybody. Here we go. Here how they were crossing Cannon Drive. But it's a memorable name, I'll tell you that. It's a big part of this whole game. Hey, yeah, well, so I'm still working through. I got so much content to work through. Ernie and I went to that organizing meeting. Now, I discovered that TikTok, you can't say the word organizing. If you say organizing, or I'm going to an organization meeting, they'll block your message. You know, it's funny what keywords they block. That's why people have been saying we're going to a rock concert. No, they'll probably block that. You know, going to a Taylor Swift concert and they'll block that. It'll be like the code name for going to a protest. But now you see another reason why I'm on YouTube. But Ernie and I went to that meeting yesterday in Pilsen there at the church. So I'll cut out some clips. Amazing speakers. We had some amazing speakers. I mean, literally, how often do you have an opportunity to be in the same room with a national leader of the Black Panther Party? I'm serious. This is the real deal. This is the real organizers, national organizers that are trying not just the No Kings, but the big demonstration they're going to try to get people to come to November the 5th there in Washington, D.C. It's a long way to go. The groups are small, and there's you know, squabbles amongst the left, which we know this. It's a very desperate group of people with different interests trying to build a coalition. It's hard. But thanks to Ernie for joining me and going to that. And, you know, I just wanted to see, I felt it deserved to be covered. I didn't see any local news media there. Nothing, you know. And I was talking to some of the organizers. They said they tried to do social media, it just doesn't work. And I see why, because there's censorship of social media. And it's just how do you... So Ernie and I are strategize how to just get the word out and assist where we can just by giving it a platform so people can make up their own minds. That's what I'm not trying to influence you to... People's politics are their politics, you know. I don't expect people to change my politics. Why you want to get change theirs? But we're living through very interesting times. We got to pay attention. We got to hold our government, I don't care any government, more accountable than what's going on here. But here's here we'll head to the lakefront. But we also, on Saturday night, we went to the Moon Festival there. They had that K-pop dance competition. That was interesting. So I got some reruns to cut about that. We got the skyline views from the water taxi. We already posted some of that because I know people enjoy that. But hey, we got some clouds, so it'll probably take a while for the sun to burn through these clouds. Hey, we made it to Fullerton here at Lakefront, Chicago, Lake Michigan here. See people jogging, riding the bike. We're walking along North Avenue Beach here. Ernie, how you doing there? Good morning. Yeah, CJ's mommy, Karen. Yeah, you're up early there, Ernie. Yeah, CJ's mommy there. Krista, Meep Meep, Sam, Hair Metal. Yeah, stay home. Are you staying home, Hair Metal? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. There. URTS UKI, how you doing there? Great stuff, Carrie. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Shauna was on. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks, Shanna, for being on there. Lamby T, good morning. How you doing there? News channel, yeah, when they would do pirate radio, we'll do Weird Al Yankovic's channel there, UHF. Does anybody remember what UHF channels were? There was VHF and there was UHF. You had to use the different knob on the old TVs. We used the ham radio. But we might have to resort to that. They'll turn off the internet one day. You don't think it could happen. It happened during the Arab Spring. So here, look at that skyline of Chicago. Here we are at Fullerton here, Lake Michigan. The sun's supposed to rise in 2 minutes here, so we'll head out, we'll walk along the path there. Yeah, people doing yoga, people doing Pilates and calisthenics. And, yeah. Yeah, you remember Weird Al Yankovic? Yeah. Do all his parodies of the songs there. Jerry, yeah, Lamby T, Sam. Yeah, the knobs. I think he had 13 channels on VHF, like 2 to 13. And then 14 to like 68 were UHF. It was different bands, different frequency bands, the old antennas, the rabbit ears, or the ones that people had on their roof. You can still get over there HDTV signals. They still don't want people to know that people pay for them on cable. You get for free, but the HDTV antenna, but they keep restricting the bandwidth. they keep making it smaller and smaller so that they know people won't get good reception as they could be. Sell off the bandwidth to everything else. Probably the TikTok. Here's what I'm using right now for YouTube. But here's Lake Michigan. We're getting ready for the sunrise here, 6:52. Thanks for tuning in here. And we'll head around. Yeah, Ernie, how you doing there? Yeah, thanks, Ernie. Thanks for going to that meeting with me. I'll cut out more of the footage from the speakers. We saw some amazing speakers, a good message there, and some real nationally known figures. And thanks again to St. Pius Church there, the father there. He was there. He spoke a little bit too. They do such a great outreach there, and he was telling me about it. They provide meals to needy families all throughout, not just the west side, the south side there. We were on the west side there in Pilsen. And yeah, so I guess the sun's behind those clouds, that we might have to wait for it to rise above the clouds there. Yeah, Chicago, Shauna, thanks for helping out with that there. Yeah, this is Chicago, Charles. Yeah, this is Chicago. This is skyline. We're up about 3 miles north, 3.5 miles north of the Sears Tower. There's your sun. There's your little bit of sun peeping under that cloud there. There's the water intake crib, 2 miles out. So here, we'll keep going here. We'll go around sunrise for October the 6th, 2025. Yeah, Krista. Hey, but hey, I also got a cutout. We saw Jay City Walking Girl at Sundays on State. She had her booth there selling her plants. She has potted plants. You get your potted plants there, Jay City Walking Girl. And she had some other amazing things. So I'll cut out that. It was nice to see her. And thanks to Ernie for helping me find her there. We actually met another person that found us on Sundays on State, and she was like, yeah, I want to meet City Walking Girl too. And so we went over there all together. It was great. And they had the Joffrey Ballet dancers were there. They had some young dancers that were, and Sundays on State looked good. We even stopped at Maxwell Street. We went to Maxwell Street. They had the flea market going on there. They had some blues bands, blues musicians, and then we went to Jim's Original. I got a Polish hot dog. Ernie got him a fish sandwich, I think. It was good. And we went down to Pilsen. Yeah, Ernie was showing me that new soccer field that they, the new park there. The Chicago Fire professional team invested in. That's good because that was empty lots for years. I know they tore down those churches, but underutilized land, now it's utilized. So something's always better than nothing. The beautiful sports fields, the community can use it, and they got an indoor soccer field, Chicago Fire. So at least some investments going in there. It's good. So latte. Yeah, we were collecting people. People should show up. We'll put them to work. We'll say, hey, join the cause here. We'll give you a protest placard. We can go to the No Kings protest there on October the 18th. So yeah, Ernie, I sent you that list. Most of those things are like college organizing things. There's a few. It's good that now I know that I guess tomorrow there's going to be something at the Federal Plaza. And then next week there'll be something for George Floyd anniversary. I might cover that downtown. But the main next thing coming up, I think, is October the 18th, the No Kings protest in Grant Park. So I'll make a better effort to cover this stuff. I missed some of the stuff that Ernie and Jody J TV covered because I was either working from home or out of town. But hey, there, look at see, the sun's going to make some interesting rays with those clouds once it starts rising, so we should get a dramatic sunrise over those clouds once we get closer to North Avenue Beach there. So we talked to some people that went to Broadview. I got a rerun there. Okay, so to those that want me to be, put my body in harm's way and give you the front lines report there's so much footage and stuff. A lot of people's social media accounts are getting banned that they cover Broadview, and maybe that's why you want me to go to Broadview. You want my account to get banned. Why am I on YouTube? The health share could be free. His live streaming privileges were revoked from TikTok because he was simply there covering what was going on. The militarization, it's getting worse. They're bringing in... But we talked to a man here right on the bridge there. I posted that footage. You can watch it. I can send it to you. He was there, and he said they had a prayer. They had preachers were there. Fortunately, when he was there, they weren't firing rubber bullets at him. And some people do get hit by rubber bullets and tear gas. There was that incident over the weekend where there was gunfire exchanged between a Chicagoan and a woman and ICE, and it was when the ICE was entrapped by 10 Chicago vehicles that wouldn't let them pass, which excites me that that's why people use the whistles. They notify people on social media are using to know, and so of course ICE is going to shut down social media because people are using it to notify our friends and neighbors, people we live and work with here, that they're being rounded up, and they're raiding that building there on South Shore. They were talking a lot about that. I'll post that footage there. But I'm a corporate stiff here. I got a corporate day job. I work for an architecture engineering firm. If I had the means through the social media to be a full-time protesting warrior there, yeah, I would go there and cover the front lines. But I don't know how much good it serves. It just, everybody entrenched. That's why there's a nice woman, she's called Chicago's Auntie, whatever, she's gaining a lot of traction. She goes, there's other ways you can protest and support. You can support pills and businesses, you can support little village businesses, restaurants. People are afraid to go out of their homes. You could help people pick something up for them. If you're a U.S. citizen, not, you know, and see if they arrest a U.S. citizen for aiding and abetting the enemy, you know, poor immigrant families with their kids trying to make it through the year here, you know. How cruel can we be as we try to, we might as well just, yeah, we to tear down the Statue of Liberty, we cut off U.S. aid, we give billions of dollars to Argentinian leaders, so no U.S. aid, but yeah, we'll give $20 billion to Argentina just because as a personal favor. Because we got tons of money. Money comes out of nothing. The government shut down. No one cares. The stock market goes up. Larry Ellison and AMD and Oracle. And well, there was a big deal announced with like AMD. They're rivaling the NVIDIA. Billions of dollars. AMD stock jumps 25% overnight. Wall Street does not care. Wall Street does not care about... I guess they're making money off of ICE. And I'm not the whole market, just... contractors, you know. The same thing happened during the Iraq War with Halliburton. You know, but hey, look at this beautiful Blackwater. You can be a government mercenary there. They got the phone number there. You can work for Kristi Noem there. She could be your boss. Here's look at the sunrise here over Lake Michigan. Thanks for tuning in here. We're North Avenue Beach here. Yeah, I'm gonna head across the sandbags here. Well, actually, hey, they're watching some dogs out there. Yeah, let's get across the sandbags here. Oh, there we go. Yeah, isn't it amazing how we all, like, people on the right and the left will openly acknowledge that, you know, they'll arrest U.S. citizens without care. Was that the original? Is that what you voted for? U.S., you know, I voted for chaos and the destruction of the American ideals and dreams. What do you tell the kids? You say, okay, so, you know, the big mean man there in Washington, he likes that mass people are throwing people in the back of vans and making people scared. Say, oh, trust us, you got nothing to worry about. Unless you're gay. I'm joking. See, that's the hidden, and I understand, you know, the people, the marginalized groups, and all these gains we thought we made, or they could disappear overnight. You know, civil liberties. People risked a lot to be themselves, come out of the closet, and then this happens, you know. But that's the nature of history. 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Limits a human ability to get along. But hey, we'll enjoy the sunrise. There it is. There's your sunrise for October the 6th, 2025 over Lake Michigan. We got the whole day ahead of us. The sun still rises. Life goes on, and we'll find a way through this dark period that we're going through here. And we're just getting started. That's why people at the meeting yesterday, they're like, you want to wait 3 more years, or you want to try to do something now? You know, how bad could it worse? How bad could it get worse? How much worse can it get in 3 months? How much worse is it now than it was 3 months ago? A lot worse. Shows you how quickly things can accelerate. We'll whip out that poem, like, they came for my neighbor, and then they came for the guy down the street, and then they came for me. And I didn't think it could happen to me. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Oops, I'm trying to get across the barrier here. Wow, look at these clouds. So what a beautiful, just the simple beauty of nature. Lake Michigan, North Avenue Beach. There's that water intake crib. There's your sunrise. Finally rose over the clouds there. Inspiring way to start our day. 7:03. Yeah, nice temperatures here. North Avenue Beach, Chicago, Illinois. Thanks for tuning in. But yeah, I'm looking forward to cut. I had to wait. There's a lag time between processing where Ernie and I filmed that, and then with YouTube. sometimes I can't cut out the clips right away. I have to wait a little bit. So that's why I posted stuff from earlier in the evening. No, I posted stuff from Saturday night, because the Saturday night stuff was processed and the Sunday stuff wasn't. And so I'll cut out J City Walking Grill and Maxwell Street and the meeting that we went to in St. Pius there. A lot of amazing speakers. Flat water, flat earth. Yeah, are you a Tartarian? Are you when I show like historic Chicago architecture, you'll say some ancient civilization built it. It wasn't Louis Sullivan. Yeah, you know, I get it. But hey, we're out of flat earthers. Dig a hole in the stand, stick your head in it. I'm the same way. But here, look at the nice sunrise, Lake Michigan, gentle waves. It's supposed to rain this evening. I'll keep an eye on the rain. If the rain's not until later in the evening, I'll work a full day. But if the rain looks like it's going to hit in the afternoon, I might head home at lunchtime. It might rain in the morning. The Cubs play tonight. They're in Milwaukee. I think it's at 8:08 p.m. Central Time start time. And we'll see if the Cubs can regroup after their big loss there in the first game in Milwaukee. Milwaukee came out swinging literally, and it's going to be a tough series, as we knew it would be. Milwaukee has the best record in the National League for the regular season, #1 seed. But hey, there's your Chicago skyline. So Roland, what makes you think I'm listening to Democrats? The meeting I went to is further left than the Democrats. Most of us have lost faith in the Democratic Party because we realize they spent money without paying for it either, just like the Republicans are spending money without paying for it. Some of the same things I fault the Trump administration for, I'll fault the Democrats for it too, where they promised a bunch of people a bunch of health care after COVID, and they knew they wouldn't be able to raise taxes on corporations, so they just put it on the national debt. So don't think I'm a Democrat. Both parties have failed me. Both parties, I'm angry at both parties. And if you try to pigeonhole my politics, I'll get angry at you. Because there's so many Americans that are in my situation where we deserve more than two choices. The choice between Trump and like an impotent Democratic leader that just like does sound bites is a false choice. Now, people will naturally, if they're angry at Trump and the economy tanks, eventually over the next 3 years, they'll go to the alternative, which is the opposite party. But it doesn't mean it's going to solve the problems that we're facing in this country long term with. And then we got billionaire corporations with more money than ever that we're not forcing them to pay what they're taking out of society. Giant data centers. Tesla's building a giant one in Memphis. It takes a bunch of water. It takes a bunch of electricity. We should hold them more accountable to society to pay more because they're reaping the benefits of it without dealing with the externalities that their data centers cost. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. Tesla, Elon, is not a Democrat or Republican. He's a libertarian. He's an opportunist. He would just as easily give his money to a different party if it would serve his interests. And, you know, we see how deep his idealism is. Here, we'll head up. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm so tired of this left versus right. I have stuff in common with my relatives who are staunch Trump supporters because there's reasons they're angry, and I have to acknowledge there's reasons they're angry, and the Democratic Party it's going to make them more angry. So we need like a third party. We need like a centrist party. We need something that sticks at both to the corporate interest. We need an anti-corporate party because both parties have been bought and sold by corporate America, including Democrats. And the Supreme Court, look how it's ruining the Supreme Court. Citizens United, we can't trust the Supreme Court. They're doing all these like emergency decisions. The Supreme Court was not designed by the Founding Fathers to decide every single fucking freaking court case in the entire docket there. It bogs up the system. Corporate America loves it. You know why? They can't enforce the SEC. They can't enforce government oversight. Corporations love that. They got a tax cut, no one looking at what they're doing. It's great. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau gone. You know. So I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you hate my message. Why are you watching me? You watching and watch the sunrise so I can yell at you? Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. Here's North Avenue Beach. Here's there the seagulls, ladies, people greeting the sun here. Gentle waves. This is North Avenue Beach. Yeah, we'll head over to Michigan Avenue. I'm just trying to get to work. But I'm gonna post the messages of the good speakers we saw yesterday. If they ban my account, so be it. My life was great before social media. It'll be great after social media. We've realized I trust, you know how little I trust Google, how little I trust ByteDance, how little I trust any corporation. I dislike the corporations more than I dislike Donald Trump, because they enable Donald Trump to exist and function, because as long as they're making money, they don't care. And who's they? It's the people that get corporate stock buybacks, people on board of directors, people in ivory towers. You think, unless you're one of these people, you think they give a shit about us? They're laughing. They'd rather divide and have the whole country fighting amongst each other because they can mop up the profits. They discovered after 9/11, people buy more when they're scared and anxious. They discovered after COVID, people buy more when they're scared and anxious. So why you should keep society in constant state of fear. Yeah. Stay inside and buy from Amazon. There, that'll make you feel better. Uncle Jeff Bezos will keep you hooked on the heroin there. Jeff Bezos heroin. You sign up for Amazon Prime, you'll never get off. You'll be hooked for the rest of your life. You'll be a lifelong Amazon Prime addict. Kissing Jeff Bezos' butt and loving it. Here's Castaways. Thanks for tuning in. Look at that sunrise. Hey, thanks for tuning in here. We'll go up to, we'll go this way. I'll get to work when I get to work. I'll let people say, oh, you're late. I'm like, good, thank you. Teacher's pet. Hey, good morning there, Ricky. How you doing there? Ricky Salgado there, Max, yeah. Yep, one party's driving you behind you, right? People love it. I have hillbilly ancestry. I read Hillbilly Elegy. All these hillbillies, they think that J.D. Vance, he'll never be accepted, just like Trump will never be accepted in those blue blood clubs. Your new money, your new money. And that's why they're populists. But they'll take the money from the clubs that don't like him either. That's why Trump started his own club. There, JoJo Shake Bar. Here, North Avenue Beach. Look at that sun. Yeah. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago here, North Avenue Beach. 2 to 6. Hey, look, they're doing a photo shot, a photo shoot there. Fashion models out there getting the sunrise there, yeah. Yeah, we often see that. Sometimes they'll be doing shots for fashion shoots or sports blogs. Or you haven't been to the beach? Yeah, that's good. Thanks for, we'll go by Oak Street Beach too. So this is North Avenue Beach. Lakeview, Lincoln Park's off that way, Montrose Beach. This is Streeterville, Gold Coast. We're heading towards the loop of Chicago. I'm heading to work here, 7:12. Still feels like summer. It's gonna be a cold reality once that fall weather hits, but the marathon's coming up. The marathon's this Sunday, so I'm gonna cover the marathon here on YouTube. Should be nice. We have a nice long continuous stream. It's always a fun time. They'll have bands going. Bands play the energetic, upbeat music. Get everybody in the spirit there. The crowd cheers everybody on. It's a fun, festive event. Usually the weather starts getting cooler right around the marathon for fall here in Chicago. We've had an amazingly warm, sunny stretch of dry weather. You used to live by Montrose? Hey, that's good. Yeah, are you talking about President Trump? I think President Trump's parents were German, and I think his mother was Scottish or something. Like originally like European heritage. I think his grandfather was the one that was the immigrant for Trump. And their name was Drumpf. It wasn't spelled how it is now. They Americanized it. made it like a playing card. And look how that was a brilliant move for marketing. Marketing the family name there. People still don't believe me, but it's very rare. It doesn't happen as much as people think. I do have an ancestor that immigrated, my most recent ancestor that came to America in 1901 on my grandmother's side, my mother's side. He came from Norway, and his last name was Kjørnsbæk, K-J-E-R-N, and they literally, not through Ellis Island, I think he came through Boston. He listed his name as Hansen, the most common Scandinavian name like Smith or Jones. Hansen, the son of Han, Hansen's son, Hansen, like the Hansen brothers. And so her maiden name was Hansen. It should have been Kjørnsbæk. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, it's the amazing things you find Ancestry.com and researching your family history. It's fast, you know. Yeah, for Halloween, you know, as long as I'm in Chicago, which I think I'll be in Chicago for Halloween, we usually go up to North Halstead. We go to Boys Town. The last 2 years we've gone up there. The evening before Halloween, they have a Halloween parade, and I'll give you more information about that. It's a lot of fun. It's not as you know, it rivals. It's not as big. I know the New York Halloween parade. Hey, good morning. How you doing there? Thank you. Beautiful sunrise here. Yeah, and thanks for saying hello here. People jogging by here. Here's the sunrise here. But yeah, usually we go up to North Halstead, Boys Town. They have the Halloween parade, and it's a good time. And so up until then, I'll just be on the lookout for Halloween decorations. That's what we'll do this evening. We'll head up through River North, the Gold Coast, Old Town, Lincoln Park. Sometimes we go into Lakeview or Wicker Park, and we go to the nice Gilded Age Victorian mansions that decorate so nicely for Halloween. A lot of them are millionaires that pay designers to do it, and I'll post the reruns from years past, and we have a fun time just celebrating people decorating for Halloween and getting in the spirit, you know. And people really like Halloween. I find it myself, it's a good distraction in these dark times. We need a distraction from the depressing news to just maintain our sanity. So thanks. I've already posted some. We saw the skeletons on State Street, and so hey, usually it'll start getting darker earlier, so we'll be able to walk through the magic hour when the lights are starting to take hold, and it becomes magical, just like the psychedelic Barbie house there at twilight when the lights come on. We posted that. Hey, we saw that K-pop dance competition. That was amazing, and it was nice to see so many young people out in Chinatown Square on a Saturday night, just having a friendly dance competition there. That was part of the Moon Fest. They had the Moon Fest for Chinatown, Chinese culture. It's like Chinese New Year, but it's in the harvest time, the harvest moon. Get your moon cakes. We were down there. It was great. Yeah, we'll stay positive. Thanks, Bill. That's the key. Please take with a grain of salt when I go on my political tirades and rants. I'm mostly just venting. I'm mostly just getting it out of my system so I can, you know, it's mainly I'll see a comment and I'll just, you know, just kind of push back and let people know that I'm not going to be intimidated by peer pressure. To thine own self be true. It's hard. Here, look at that. Look at that sun with the clouds. It's like a heavenly postcard there. Look at that. Rays of the sun there through the clouds there. It's Lake Michigan. We're in between North Avenue Beach and Oak Street Beach here, heading towards this skyline. Yeah, thanks for watching the Garbage City here. You're enjoying if you're an American, you're enjoying our president destroying an American city there and making America great by destroying Chicago. Yeah. Thanks for calling us garbage there. I'll call. Let's see who is that there. We came in second. Yeah. Well, now we know why you came in second. Who does number 2 work for? Who does number 2 work for? Wow. Sit there and troll people on the internet and stroke your ego. Wow, you solved all the world problems and put me in my place. Thank you. Gotcha. Wow, zinger, take that, bazinga. Look at this zinger. Wow, slam. Your mama's so fat. Yeah, thanks. Here, look at these people swimming. Swimming in the sunshine there, yeah. Look at that, swimming out in Lake Michigan, October the 6th. I remember that. It was like the middle of October and we saw somebody water skiing. It's calm enough, you could water ski today. And their warm weather continues here, at least for today. It's supposed to rain tonight and cool down. We'll be in the 60s later this week, so it'll finally start feeling like fall. Yeah, holiday decorations. So we go right from doing the Halloween decorations to going into the Christmas. So we got the whole spooky season ahead of us, and then we got the whole holiday cheer season ahead of us, and then we'll start whipping out the Kris Kringle market and all that stuff. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're not even to Halloween yet. We're not even to Columbus Day yet. I can see if there's a Columbus Day parade. They're trying to make you move to Florida. Hey, thanks for staying in Chicago. See, positive makes everything. What works for some people doesn't work for others. I have people I work with that moved to Florida and Tennessee, and they love it. Good for them. But yeah, I personally prefer Chicago. So different strokes for different folks. Even with the crazy weather, I do like living in the city. And, you know, it works for me. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you. I'm not trying to promote this city over other cities. This city's not for everybody. Big cities are not for everybody. Cities in general are not for everybody. But hey, we got this bike path. We got this beautiful lake. We got a lot of parks. We got a lot of unfunded liabilities. It's great. We got big debt. So Chicago has a big debt. So does the United States of America. They're like, oh, Chicago, you got such a big debt. Well, the United States federal government has a bigger debt even than us. And you would think all these conservatives would want to do something about it, but no, that's not what this shutdown's about. This shutdown's not about making the size of government smaller. It's about making the size of blue state government smaller, but making red state governments bigger, even though they're unfunded liabilities. And so the red states are adding more to our national debt than the blue states. Thanks. That's what's happening to this government shutdown. So who's paying more of the sacrifice? We know some Americans are being punished more than others, and that's maybe how you felt under Biden, I know. So we're in the retaliatory payback period of retribution. Chicago deserves to be punished because we're a sanctuary city. That's what the wrath of Khan is going to come down upon us here. There, look at the Sable Lakeshore Drive. Yeah, everything's close. I don't need a car. I've lived in the city over 26 years without a car. Ernie and I were down in Pilsen yesterday. We both just jumped on the train there. He jumped on the orange line. I jumped on the pink. And station was right there. Pilsen was looking nice, though. Yeah. So combat system, let's see what they're saying there. So combat system, the crime rate in the entire United States is unacceptable. So you're okay with the crime rate in the rest of the United States. You're just not okay with the crime rate in Chicago. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, the only crimes happening here. It's not happening anywhere else. Yeah, you're right. Thanks for a good point there. I didn't think of it that way. It makes total sense. I know that's not what you're saying. It just shows you the limiting fact. Social media is very reductive. It dumbs everything down because, you know, you only got like two lines there to make your point. I know people, at least YouTube, you can write like a paragraph. Well, some people do that. You write a longer statement, explain yourself, which helps me out so I can see where people are coming from. 2-word statements, you could misread so many things into it. There's not enough context. I think that's the biggest lesson I learned from social media. It's just so many times you'll watch a video that gets you riled up and there's not enough context. And so our brain fills in the gaps. And our brains will fill in the gap. There's been times where I posted something where I get a negative reaction from the right and I get a negative reaction from the left at the same time. And there's been things I posted where it was meant to be sarcastic about Trump, and people in MAGA, they like it. They thought it was saying something positive because they didn't get the sarcasm. And vice versa. I posted something derogatory about the left, which rarely happens because I lean to the left, but I do make fun of the left sometimes. And sometimes the left will misinterpret it as well. And and so it's because social media, there's not enough context. People don't know who made the video, where it's coming from, what the message is. And we're in this, not only is propaganda, that's why the government propaganda is sometimes not as effective too, because they lose control of the message as well in the social media age. It takes a life of its own. And it's more organic. Here's Lake Michigan. So most of the time I'm just walking around confused. I just realized people are angry. Ernie and I went to a far left organizing meeting for a protest against the Trump administration. Even at that meeting, people on the left were arguing with each other over why wasn't the Palestinian protesters there? Why was a white professor lecturing Hispanic people and he got called a gringo? He goes, don't call me a gringo. So here, people on the left were using pejoratives, you know, and I wanted to leave the meeting. I almost did. Because I'm like, I don't want the rest of the world to see Ernie and me live streaming how divided the left is. The left is very weak right now. The left is very divided, and the right knows it, and it smells blood. And here's their chance to destroy the opposition. And we got all these people that are too afraid to get involved. All these people that don't know how to get involved and don't know how protesting, which I agree, I don't know if protesting does anything. We could have millions of people descending on Washington to protest, and they'll somehow use it to cut the funding of something that we hold dear. You know, it's this no holds barred period of politics we're going through here, and it's affecting people's lives, especially people in the Hispanic Latino community and people in the African American community on the south and west side that are bearing the brunt of ICE, Broadview. Somebody posted a video of, they thought ICE was in Bucktown, but I'm not for sure it was ICE. But it could have been. But, so there you go. So here's North Avenue Beach. Hey, the dog's digging a hole there. Look at that. So here's John Hancock, 875 North Michigan. Hey, it's water in the hole there. Yeah, it's kind of, that's what I would do. So here's Lake Michigan, Oak Street Beach. Here's the Lakefront running path there. Kelly Quinn, how you doing there? Yeah, it's hard. It depressed me because, you know, we had these nationally. I commend the people that organize. They're trying to spread awareness. I'll try my best to spread awareness that there's going to be a mass demonstration in Washington, D.C., November the 5th. They're trying to get people to come from all over the country, not just do a local thing, trying to do like a 1 million man march or a women's march on Washington, D.C., whatever. Okay. So we had some amazing speakers, nationally known speakers, people that were doctors and had degrees and professors and community activists. And then when they opened the question and answer session, people started putting up their personal grievances for whatever faction of the left they advocated for the most. And we got to find some solidarity, a way to come together and be united in our opposition here. But I still argue. And this is hard because I got to literally put my money where my mouth is. The best ways to protest the policies is to curtail your economic activity. I'm not saying live a bad life, live a good life. But the money in politics has to change somehow. Money's ruining our politics. Too much money because of Citizens United. Corporations have too much say over the people. If we could just somehow equalize that playing field somehow. But it's going to be hard. And I'm not hoping, I'm not praying for a recession or depression. I'm just saying we're on an unsustainable path. Even people on the right agree we're on an unsustainable path. And even in these periods where we have a government shutdown, we never limit spending. We never, whatever party's in power, the right or left, whenever it's a government shutdown, neither party limits spending. They actually spend more after government shutdowns. So our money grows on trees. Hey, look at that. Wow. Look at the rays of the sun there. That's what we wanted to see there. Look at that, the heavenly celestial body there. The sun coming through the clouds here. Oak Street Beach. Volleyball, beach volleyball. It's like a summer's day here. October the 6th, 2025. Yeah, good point there. Yeah, there's a lot of corporate debt. Kelly, thanks. A lot of corporate paper there. And Mike is making stuff there. That's good. Beach repairs. There you go. Mike is making stuff. See, do it yourself. The do it yourself. Fix it yourself. Do your home repairs there. Fix the computer. Fix the cars and stuff. You know, my parents used to can food. They used to grow garden. We lived in the country. We would do potatoes, strawberries, tomatoes, corn, beans, soy, green beans, canned stuff, make our own jelly. My uncles would make their own wine. We weren't Amish, we were just country people. It's how people made it through the 70s, with the 1970s, where there was stagflation. People were laid off of work in 1981, it was a bad recession. We forget that. Cars used to be junky. Cars used to be all rusty and stuff. You don't see anybody driving old junky cars anymore. And that was America. Think of the generation that went through the Great Depression or World War II. They really had to sacrifice. We don't know what sacrifice is like. The closest we came to it was during the pandemic, and you see how much people bitched and complained about that when the stock market was higher within months than it was before, and people were flooded with money they didn't know what to do with. And that's what led to inflation. There was inflation after the Spanish flu pandemic in the 1920s, which led to the Great Depression too. They think it was a contributing factor. It took 10 years for it to, but there was other things, the Smoot-Hawley tariffs. Oh, that's kind of an interesting parallel. Here's the John Hancock. This is the Sabalation Drive entrance there, northbound from Michigan Avenue. We're heading up to the Drake Hotel, the old Palmolive Playboy building. There we'll head down Michigan Avenue. We got 7:31. We got a half an hour. We get south of the river there. Yeah, Naya Papaya there. Tea time. How you doing? Yeah, Tara. See, everybody's getting to know each other here. This is good. We got a good community of people. Started with the lunch bunch. Now we're expanded to our TikTok audience that's coming over here to YouTube. We're getting people eyes on the screen here. No, I can't wait to post some of the reruns of those speakers. They had some fairly powerful messages. I mean, literally, I was humbled. One of the national leaders of the Black Panther Party was there, and he's an MD. He's a medical doctor. He's like not just a professor. He's like a medical doctor. And I'm amazed that they got their own military style uniform with like badges and medals and honors. It shows you how all these symbols, all the politicians that wear those little pins on their lapel, We're here at the Drake Hotel. A lot of people get married here. Hey, that wind feels nice here. We got Michigan Avenue. Yeah, Lakeshore, Michigan here. Top and bottom. Great comment there. Mike is making stuff. Top. There's more that unites us than divides us. The top. What you're talking about, Mike. I agree. The corporate interest aligned with the fascists will divide the poor people. They'll divide people according to race, religion, but what unites us? We're at the bottom of the economic distribution of wealth, and so it's always been a strategy of the people in power, whether they're on the left and the right, to keep the the masses fighting amongst each other so they can consolidate power. Fascists have done it, communists have done it, and democratically elected politicians slipping into totalitarianism have done it. You divide and conquer. And that's why maybe the best thing I could do is to outreach to my Appalachian brothers and sisters, relatives that are poor, to say, hey, I'm not trying to make you a communist, socialist hippie. I'm just saying that you realize that these rich people we voted for really don't care about us. You know, and I don't care if you get a tax cut, tax break. And that's what we realize, a lot of the privileges that what they're giving them is unearned. It's the idea of Christian white nationalism and a social order that they have more power in. See, that's because of this country's always had a problem with what is whiteness. My Melungeon ancestors struggle with that. You know, you could assimilate, but if you're not perceived as white, you're still the other. You know, Asian Americans experience this as well. Is that, you know, oh, you're an honorary white person, but then when it really comes down to it, you're not part of the club. And you know, Melungeons, Native Americans realized that a long time ago, despite all this idea of assimilation and speaking English. My German ancestors had to quickly stop speaking German during World War I and World War II because, rightly so, they would have been considered traitors to America. You know, Japanese Americans had turned into internment camps in World War II. What we're going through is not new to American history. They did concentration camps for the Native American removal in 1838. Most people don't realize that. You heard about the Trail of Tears. There were internment camps where they grouped everybody together and forced them to march across the Mississippi River. And then the Cherokees did it themselves. They were like, well, we'll do it on our own. You know, they at least they got paid $5 million for the transfer of land, which now is like $5 billion. But it was still humiliating. And that's the point. It's meant to be cruel. Say who's in charge, who controls our culture, and where the money goes. But hey, we're heading to work here. Here's Michigan Avenue. Thanks for tuning in. I don't have all the answers here. I'm just doing a stream of consciousness. Please excuse me if I'm rambling here, not making sense. I'm trying to work things out in my own mind here half the time. Well, we learn a lot. We learn from each other here. Or maybe we learn nothing. We just keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. Hey, the water tower. Hey, we got shocks of cord here. You got the gourds. Nice fall displays in front of Water Tower Place here, Michigan Avenue, Pearson, and Michigan. Great Chicago, the great water tower, pump house, Olympia Center. Gotta go to work. What a bummer. Yeah, look what happened. Ricky. Yeah. Chicago taxis done it. Yeah, Chris Farley. Chris Farley used to live in the Hancock. You're right. Yeah. Our friend Danny, he used to work security there. He knew him. He knew Chris Farley when he lived there. Yeah, thanks for remembering that. Thanks for remembering Chris Farley. See, we need more comedy, satire. You know, just think, you know, I'm sure this administration would love to cancel SNL. We need SNL. We need satire. We need political satire more than ever now. We need to laugh at our own culture and mock ourselves. And if we have that, you know, I don't want to make parallels between, you know, but the other totalitarian regimes, they couldn't laugh at themselves either. They couldn't take a joke. They would want to throw you in the gulag instead of laughing. There's the Water Tower, Chicago. Let's see if this bus can make a turn here. So there's Chicago Avenue, Michigan. Museum of Contemporary Art's down that way. Right across here. How you doing? Yeah, Yoko Ono's Music of the Mind. Michigan to Chicago. Hey, look at the size of these flowers. Hey, we'll check out the fall mum displays here. So we'll go back to looking for Halloween decorations tonight on a walk home from work. Unless I walk home at lunch. we'll see what the rain's looking like. The rain's supposed to hit at 6 o'clock, which is right when I want to walk home. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. So hey, I'm missing all these comments here. Yeah, Chris Farley died in the Hancock, as far as I understand. Hey, John, how you doing there? Let's see here. Well, okay, I agree. The SNL needs to mock the left more. I agree. The left deserves ridicule as well, and I say that from the left. The left needs to be mocked, and of course, I've seen them mock the left. It's just not as harshly as you probably would like. I've seen them make fun of the left a little bit, but yeah, they are extremely harsh on the right. I agree, and that's the liberal bias in the mainstream media, which there's some to it, but doesn't mean the alternative is any better. Here's the one Chicago Tower. You know, what's stopping somebody from making and I think people already attempted this. People already attempted to make a similar SNL show that just lampoons the left. And if it doesn't become as popular as SNL, maybe it's just because it's not as funny. Or the people, they can't get the right people to deliver the message. I know Fox used to have Mad TV, you know, Fox network did. They used to be in Living Color. I wish they would bring back In Living Color, you know. Remember In Living Color, the variety show was like SNL there. And I think that was on Fox as well. And look at all the amazing movie stars, Jamie Foxx, Jim Carrey, all the amazing, huge, all the Wayans Brothers movies that came out of, and all just the characters, Homie the Clown, Fire Marshal Bill, you know. Does anybody remember that? Here's, hey, look at that convertible there, yeah. See, tops down, October the 6th. It's a summer's day here. There's the Harry Potter store, Michigan Avenue. Sarah, here's Cuss. Hey, I'm still going to post those clips of the speeches because they deserve a forum here. You let people make up their own minds. And I was just honored to be in these people's presence. And there wasn't that many people at the meeting, but there was a good group of people there. I commend the people organizing. They did go into breakout groups and volunteering their time on a Sunday. So here, Converse. Yeah, they're really beefing up the Converse store and the Nike town store for the marathon. The marathon's coming up. So they actually expanded the Nike town to the next storefront here. And they got a big advertisement that wraps around the building we showed here. They put the squirrel back out. Here's a giant squirrel in front of Nike town here. Yeah, she's taking pictures of it too here. There, this is, yeah, Vomero Premium, and they just added this. They got this big, huge advertisement wrapped around the building. It's Bank of America Chicago Marathon. That's coming up Sunday. Here, we'll cover it. Here, let's get across the street. There's the giant Starbucks. This is Erie in Michigan. There it is, the big advertisement there on the side of the building. That's a giant step there. And they got some window displays. There's your free Nike advertisement for the day there. Just hopefully Nike will send me a royalty. Like they know how much money Nike has. Friday's the show. Yeah, SNL. Well, isn't that amazing about freedom? You don't have to watch SNL. No one's making you watch SNL. And you know, but do you believe in the right for SNL to exist because of free speech, or is it, free speech is hard because, you know, I dealt with it yesterday. The free speech I heard from that meeting made me want to leave, and free speech is hard. You know, sometimes you know, the truth hurts, or other people's what they think's the truth, and you don't agree with it. It hurts. It hurts me too. I'm vulnerable. I got flaws. Here, Ontario, Michigan. But to thine own self be true. If something doesn't feel right, go with your gut. You know. Hey, look at this nice landscaping here. Yeah, let's win. All I do is win, win, win. Cubs in 4. Mama Goose still has the faith there. See, we'll see what happens today. The Cubs play at 8:08 here in Milwaukee. They better win today. It's the best of 5. So yeah, seriously, they don't last long. Here's the La Katrina there. Hey, how you doing there? Oh, so we met with Ernie and his friend there. We met up with his friend there. I think his name was Jose in Pilsen there. And maybe I got his name wrong. He works at the barbershop there. They told me that over by the Mexican American Museum of Art there in Pilsen, by the park, they got some Dia de los Muertos statues. So if we get down to Pilsen, we'll go check them out. I could have did it last night, but I was pretty tired. We walked a long way. And we'll check out the Super Puff here. They got the robot there dancing. And the Ritzy there. Hey, they got the scaffolding there. They're adding a new store there. Maybe they'll have that open by Christmas time. We'll see. I don't know. It takes them a long time to get these things going. But here's the Super Puff. Ritzy. I wonder if this is motion activated or if you have to just wait for it to cycle through there. There it moves. So I think it's motion activated. Notice I came over here. So there's your Super Puff coat doing the little dance there. Ritzy. Oh, the ghost coat. It's like a ghost. The ghost in the machine there. Hey, there you go. There's the snowman coat. You get the snow coat. Hey, Nisi G, how you doing there? Just me, 76. Yeah, it's Michigan Avenue. Michigan Avenue, Ohio Street. Yeah, we're on Michigan Avenue, Ohio Street. Thanks, Chris, for helping out there. Ah, honk you. So Clark Street's about 4 or 5 blocks that way. I live near Clark Street in Lincoln Park. Clark Street, of course, runs through the whole north side, goes by Wrigley Field. Clark Street also comes downtown, goes down to Roosevelt. We walk up Clark Street. I might walk by it tonight or later this week. A lot of times we walk up that street in River North, stripped in River North there on Clark Street, where Frontera and some of the nice restaurants are. And then we go by Washington Square Park, which Clark Street runs by. But I'm heading to work here. I'm on Michigan Avenue. Yeah, Clark Street is a historic street. They talk about it On the Road. Jack Kerouac visited it with Neil Cassidy and that book. Or I don't know if Neil Cassidy went there. I know Kerouac did, because that was semi-autobiographical On the Road there. They're all real people. Even Timothy Burroughs is in that book. He wrote Naked Lunch, all the beats. Allen Ginsberg. Here's the Mums. Here's Michael Jordan Steakhouse in the Intercontinental Hotel here, Michigan Avenue. Gosh, so shy. What time we got here? 7:47. Got the brown pumpkins. Hey, there's the Tribune. But yeah, I'm going to cut out that footage of the speakers from the meeting we went to yesterday. And hey, make up your own mind. Don't, I'm a content creator. I'm not an influencer. I don't expect to change anybody's mind. Don't try to change me either, I believe people can make up their own minds. Because really, influencing is just advertising. People are like, oh, I'm an influencer. I mean, oh, you're an advertiser? You're a marketer then, right? You're just promoting stuff. No, I actually curate collections of things that people find interesting, and they can check it out, because this commonwealth, this world we all share, spread the wealth there, just like filming the sunrise. We all can appreciate the sunrise wherever you're at. You don't have to live next to Lake Michigan. You can watch it through the magic of your phone there. And same with these high-rise skyscrapers. You don't have to risk your life traveling to the mean Chicago to see this beautiful architecture, because Chicago's so scary and full of ice that people won't come here and won't spend their tourism dollars here. But I'll show it to you, because I'm going to work. I live here. I lived here through the 2020 George Floyd protests. You think this is scary? This is nothing. It was a lot scarier in April of 2020 when they had the bridges up and everything was boarded up, and it was like you woke up in a dystopic movie. Tumbleweeds blowing down the street. But everybody was rich. That was the weird thing. It was like the whole world came to an end, but everybody had money in their bank account, didn't know what to spend it on. Stock market went up. It was the weirdest Like, how can you have a pandemic and the stock market goes up? But here's the Wrigley building. We should have a pandemic every year. The stock market will be 5 times as high. Inflate our money to nothing. Here's Wrigley building, Chicago, Illinois. Trump Tower's behind it. There's the Jewelers building, Mather Tower, 333 North Michigan. I posted those videos from Saturday night. We took the water taxi at night, sped it up, and then did it real time. You can watch whichever one works for your pace. And hey, look how the sun hits that early in the morning. The Wrigley building clock still works. They could do a Back to the Future there with that clock tower. Do it at the Wrigley building. Let's do that. Doc! Rick and Morty. Here's the Jean Baptiste Point de Sable statue there. Hey, there he is. How you doing there, Jean Baptiste? Yeah. Joliet and Marquette, Native Americans. Hey, look at that. There's the London House, Jewelers building, Mather Tower. There's the tall Trump Tower, Wrigley building. Good morning there, yeah. Yeah, the French. Yeah, the French were funny. That's what, you know, like Joliet and Marquette and Jean Baptiste Point de Sable. At least Jean Baptiste Point de Sable, his wife was Potawatomi. He lived with the Potawatomi. That's why he went across the Mississippi, probably in the early 1800s, sold his land to Kinsey. But yeah, Joliet and Marquette, the indigenous people, they showed him how to do the portage between the Great Lakes and the Mississippi, and then they claimed it all for France, but they couldn't control it. France, they lost it to Spain, and then they only got it back during the Napoleonic Wars, and then they sold the Louisiana Purchase to America, even though they didn't control it. What a land swindle. And the U.S. even though the United States purchased Louisiana Purchase, they had to defeat the Native Americans that lived on it through right of conquest. And so from 1803 until Wounded Knee, after Custer in the 1890s, and after the Apache surrendered in the 1890s, it was a 90-year battle for the control of Louisiana Purchase. Just because the United States bought it doesn't mean they controlled it. And the Osage and all the 5 so-called civilized tribes that ended up in Oklahoma, that some of them brought their slaves with them, including the Cherokees, and all the western nations and tribes and indigenous people, they were living there that were not part of the transaction. The France sold them Louisiana without compensating the indigenous people for the land transfer, and they acted like they weren't even there. That's the most amazing thing. Just roaming with the buffalo, where the buffalo roam. Here's for Fort Dearborn. Fort Dearborn was an Indian fort. It was destroyed by the Potawatomi in 1812, but the Americans rebuilt it before 1830s when Chicago started to grow as a commercial center. Here, look at the Jewelers building. There's the Blackhawk. Chief Blackhawk, his real name is Mukatamash Okia Kayak. He's from the Fox Sauk tribe. When they defeated him in the Blackhawk War, 1833, they paraded him in Washington, D.C., and they painted his portrait. And I got it hanging on my wall. Here comes a ambulance. Michigan Avenue, Chicago. See, General Hospital. Like sands in the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. Seems like that sometimes. Time flies. But hey, October the 6th, 2025. We got the marathon coming up next weekend, so we'll talk more about that. I'll post the reruns from the big meetup yesterday, and we'll post J City Walking Girl. Sundays on State there. It was nice seeing all the people out at Sundays on State. It was a good crowd, and a lot of people live downtown. Just walk over there. Here, this is Water Street, Michigan Avenue. Thanks, mods. Thanks, everybody else. Yeah, I'm gonna work a little bit early today, but I'm just gonna head to work here. Well, lunchtime, we'll probably check out the Bean and go through the loop. And so we got the whole week ahead of us. We'll pace ourselves. Tonight, we'll go look for Halloween decorations on our walk home from work when it starts to get dark a little earlier. And I wonder after the weekend if some new big displays went up. They got the Shocks of Corn here, Michigan Plaza, and so we'll end it as we usually do with the Hazel Johnson mural here to Environmental Justice on the side of the Prudential 1 building there. Mr. Super A there from the Netherlands painted this great mural here with the Bambi. But Hazel Johnson was a real person. You can look her up on Wikipedia. Fought for environmental justice in the city. Pollution affects people in the city. It's like the countryside there, and there's the Wrigley building. So have a great day. Have a great Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. We'll see you at lunchtime. And if we don't see you then, we'll see you later this week or tonight. Look for the reruns there. And thanks everybody. Talk to you later. Have a great evening or a great day there. Yeah, thanks Chris. Thanks everybody else there. We'll talk to you later.